self-reliance, INS Mormugao is the second ship to be commissioned by Indian Navy in 2022 after INS Vikrant. The design and shipbuilding is a shining example of Make in India. I'm here to meet the men behind the machine. Majestic, mesmerizing, magnificent. As she sets sail, INS Mormugao is an asset like no other of the Indian Navy. Captain, this is the second ship being commissioned after INS Vikrant. It's a special year for all Indians. This is the 75th year of India's independence. And what makes this ship so special? And what is the difference between INS Vikrant and Mormugao?
If I were to just talk about Vikrant and Mormugao, one, of course, they are different class of ships. That's an aircraft carrier, much higher tonnage. This is one of the largest combatants of the Navy. It's a destroyer. Both fulfill different purposes, different functions, different missions for the Navy. Both are critically important. And so if I were to talk about Mormugao, this is a destroyer of the Project 15 Bravo class. This is a class of indigenous stealth destroyers. These are multi-mission, multi-role platforms. They bring in capability across the entire dimension of warfare, whether it's surface, subsurface, or in the air, and they have matching weapons and sensors to take on any kind of threat that we may face at sea. So Project 15 Bravo, when I say, is its predecessor is the Project 15 Alpha, and the predecessor to that is Project 15. These are a class of destroyers. So when I say Project 15, that was the Delhi class that came out in 1997, and subsequently the Project 15 Alpha, which is the Kolkata class, which came out in 2013-14. And now the Project 15 Bravo, the lead ship of that was Visakhapatnam, which got commissioned last year. And this is the second ship.
The announcement for Mormugao was made in 2011. The first keel laying happened in 2015. As far as the time frame or the timeline is concerned, is it on time or is it delayed?
It's very much on time. In fact, I would say that this destroyer Mormugao has had the shortest build period from keel laying, which is a very, very important element of the shipbuilding, till the delivery or commissioning of the ship, spanning about 7 years. And the build period of destroyers, which are very complex, very large platforms, has come down from, say, 10-11 years when we started with the Delhi class, and has further come down to 7 years. And the future platform, the next two platforms that are coming in, the build period will further reduce.
There is a reason why ships are named in a particular way. Why Mormugao?
The Navy has had a very close association and close involvement with Goa. In fact, in 1961, when Goa was liberated, the Navy had played a significant role along with the other armed forces. And in fact, the commissioning of the ship on 18 December, which happens to be the D-Day of Vijay, which led to Goa's liberation in 1961, adds another historical umbilical to the commissioning of the ship on 18th of December.
What is the total number of officers and crew on this ship?
So we are about 300 crew members, officers and sailors who man this warship.
The ship is packed with an array of state-of-the-art weapons and sensors, including multifunctional surveillance radars and vertically launched missile systems for long-distance engagement of shore, sea-based and air targets. The ship is capable of blue water operations across the spectrum of warfare. Her medium-range surface-to-air missiles, along with MF Star active phased array radar, represent a generational leap for the Navy's anti-air warfare ability. Commander Anshul Sharma is the second in command of this ship. Commander Sharma, it was launched in 2016 and the first maiden sortie happens in 2021.
Correct.
What was the experience like?
A wonderful experience, a wonderful journey, I'll say. The contract for this project was signed by the Navy with MDL in 2011, and then eventually the hull of the ship, the keel of the ship was constructed in 2015, and the hull of the ship was ready by 2016, and that's when we call it as the official launch of the ship into the water. And last year on 19 December, we did our maiden sortie, and that was the first time when actually ship went out to sea and did the maiden sea sortie trials.
Commander Sharma, how does this ship, Mormugao, add to the strength of the Indian Navy?
Mormugao is a destroyer, and it is fitted with an array of state-of-art weapons and sensors. That's what makes it different, much more powerful, potent, and a capable platform. And if I may say, we have multifunctional radars as well as vertical launched missile systems, which helps us to take on any situation when it comes to, in the warfare of anti-submarine as well as anti-surface and anti-air. And when we talk about the anti-submarine warfare, we have our rocket launchers, which are right over here.
So these are the rocket launchers?
Absolutely correct. So these are the rocket launchers which we are required to, when we need to carry out the attack against the enemy submarines. This is the first layer of defense which we generally use. We also have the heavyweight torpedo tubes, which we utilize against the enemy submarines.
Mormugao has the distinction of having the lowest build time among all indigenously manufactured destroyers till date. The build period between key laying to delivery for the second ship of P-15 class has reduced from an average of 10 years for P-15 and P-15A class to 7 years, which will further reduce in the remaining ships of the class through integrated construction and advanced shipbuilding techniques. So did the COVID-19 pandemic delay the entire process? Now we are with the officers from the warship overseeing team, Commander Sumit Singh and Commander Sarthak Mishra. What is this warship overseeing team?
Okay, this warship overseeing team is basically the eyes and ears of the Indian Navy. We are the interface between the Navy and the shipyard. So once the design is made, it is the overseeing team which sees through the entire construction right from the beginning till the end and even after the delivery. So what our role is to make all stakeholders come together, work on the...
So this is for synergy?
Yeah, for synergy as well as inspections. We do the inspection right from the first stage to the next stage, the trials, the testing. And let me highlight this point that ship construction is very complex. You know, you have got an aggregate of so many equipment and systems which come from all over the places, not only within India but from abroad also.
How many officers are there? What about the crew and what is the nature of this team?
So the warship overseeing team is led by the warship production superintendent. He is the rank of a Commodore Sunil Kaushik. He's been the one who has been helming the things from the top, and he's been guiding us, and the team of 22 officers are led by him. You can understand this, the ship was built during the COVID pandemic also. So we had to, change our tactics from the waterfall technology, wherein we used to follow the shipbuilding process. We changed over to a more of a hybrid using agile technologies. It was him who guided us on that. And using the agile technology, we were able to build the ship in a different tactics. That is the reason we could deliver the ship 6 months earlier.
During COVID pandemic, the construction of the ship continued. Nothing stopped.
Yes.
The inspections were undertaken using the Industry 4.0 technology, wherein the digital inspection of the things, even though the ship was built at a different location, our inspections and trials continued through and through. So that is the reason we could actually achieve much faster build time for the ship despite the COVID pandemic.
And what were the challenges like? Would you say that pandemic was perhaps the biggest challenge?
So actually there was a challenge for COVID-19 pandemic being there, but that is also, we changed the challenge into an opportunity. It gave us the opportunity to, revive ourselves and take on new technologies so that we could also get the shipbuilding into a new domain altogether. So marrying the requirements of the multiple stakeholders, we had, the indigenization content of this ship is around 75%. Lots of MSMEs were involved. Getting them on board, deeply engaging with them, marrying the requirements of the user, getting the project monitoring on time was a huge challenge. But that was also something, challenges give you lots of opportunities to overcome them.
Goa has been an important port in India's history. It was known as one of the most gifted natural harbours in the past. Naming of the latest warship after the port city is a tribute to the nautical contributions of the state over centuries. The first coordinated armed tri-services action of independent India, the liberation of Goa, involved sea, air and land strikes for over 36 hours to end 451 years of Portuguese rule. Goa was the first Indian territory to be colonized in 1510 and the last to become independent in 1961. The Indian Navy played an important role in the liberation of Goa. and the naval battle for the liberation between Indian naval warships and Portuguese warship happened in Mormugao harbour. Now we are going inside the ship to get you an idea of how it looks like from inside, and right here is Lieutenant Commander Ishan, the communication officer. Commander Ishan, I'm looking at this. It says the Indian Navy's most advanced and lethal guided missile destroyer welcomes you on board. So you're welcoming us on board. Welcome viewers on board. Destroyer at sea, ship's war cry. That is the motto?
Yes, so our motto is Sagre Vinashaka, as you can see, which means the destroyer at sea. And we have a war cry which says Shaurya Parakram Vijay Bhav Mormugao Mormugao. So as you welcomed into, we call this as the entrance lobby. And we have all the components of the ship. As you can see, the name of the ship, the model of the ship. We've got our ship's colors, which is the maroon and the azure blue.
And why is it D67? I can see that number as well.
Yes, so every ship has got a pennant number. The D stands for destroyers.
Okay.
And 67 is a series of lines of destroyers. We had 66, the Vishakhapatnam, and 67 is Mormugao.
Okay, and here is the list of men behind the machine. So
yes,
you can see we have already interacted with Captain Bhatia and Commander Anshul Sharma, and here is Lieutenant Commander Ishan, who is taking us through this entire journey. Now inside the ship.
Yes, so as you see from here, we move on to the inside of the ship. Yes. Mormugao is related to Goa. So we've used all the aspects that connects Mormugao to its maritime linkages in Goa. See that Goa and Mormugao always linked. That's why the ship has been eponymously named as Mormugao, behind the major port, Mormugao in Goa. Okay. And all the history of linking Goa and Mormugao,
yes,
I mean INS Mormugao, is what we've tried to explain here in our entrance to the ship.
Yes, and it says that there is some kind of bond between the two.
Yes.
And nautical linkages as well. So what is the nautical linkage and the bond here?
So I must tell our viewers that right from the days of Kadambas to the Sultans of Bijapur, the port city of Mormugao has a very strong connection. And that is why we've connected the city of Goa, the state of Goa and the port city of Mormugao with this ship, INS Mormugao. So there are different compartments on board the ship, more than 500 compartments on board the ship, which have been earmarked across various decks, right from down to the top.
So this is made in India, so take pride in the fact that it is all built in
True
India.
Atmanirbhar Bharat, as we keep saying. So this is where we have the commanding officer's lobby, as we call it. And because the ship is the captain is the ship, so the Mormugao ship's captain lobby is named after Mormugao. So all the aspects related to Mormugao's glorious history, the ports of Konkan, are all aptly explained in this lobby.
The ship is equipped with network of networks, with high degree of automation, through integrated platform management system, integrated communication system, automated power management system, and combat management system. We are now inside the bridge of the ship. This is the heart of the ship. With me is the navigating officer, Lieutenant Commander Siddharth Iyer. What really happens here?
So the bridge is where the ship is conned from. This is the location where the OW, that is the officer of the watch, stands and keeps watch. This is where he gives the orders as to what speed we have to travel at, or what direction we have to travel at. It's basically like the cockpit of an aircraft. This is where all the controls are. This is where the entire ship is, the activities of the ship are coordinated from.
So what are the kind of gadgets that you have for that aid you in the navigation?
All the gadgets that aid us into navigation are called navaids, short for navigational aids. So we have various gadgets, that is, we have the EGDIS, the electronic chart display information system. We have navigational radars. We have echo sounders to measure the depths. We also had logs to measure the speed at which we are going at.
And what's this constant beep that I'm hearing? Alarm?
Those are alarms that you're getting in harbor. Since we are in harbor, there are a lot of parameters that shouldn't be, that are beyond limits. For example, we are in very shallow depths, or for example, if there is a ship being detected very nearby, which normally you wouldn't find at sea.
And how many navigation officers are there on a ship?
So there are 2 navigation officers on the ship. I am the navigating officer, and I have a deputy under me who is a navigating officer too. So the two of us do all the planning, the navigation and the execution of pilotage.
The ship weighs about 8,000 tons and is about 165 meters long. She's capable of proceeding at a speed of over 30 knots. The ship Mormugao has approximately 300 personnel who are the men behind the machine that propel her to float, move and fight. From the heart of the ship, now we have moved to ship's control center, which is the machinery control room. And right here is the engineer officer who's responsible for the movement of this ship, Commander Jalaj Bhatia. Commander Bhatia, explain to us what is your role in Mormugao.
Okay, so basically you must have met the navigating officer of the ship. And
Yes, we just did.
Yeah, you just did on the bridge. So bridge is the place from where the ship is actually controlled. So it's the heart of the ship. Bridge gives command to the machinery control room to move from one place to another. So the job of the machinery control room is to operate the engines which are installed on the ship. We are installed with 4 gas turbine engines and they run on the diesel fuel which is there. We have stored it and we keep it, and then we run our gas turbines and we move the ship when we receive command from bridge.
The total length of this ship equals 1.5 football fields. So when you look at the movement, how careful do you have to be in terms of the movement of the ship?
This platform is a highly automated platform. We have an integrated platform management system. So what it does is it not only just talks to the main propulsion, it talks to the power generation plants, it talks to the air conditioning plants, it talks to the compressors, it talks to the RO plants, it talks to the steering gear and gives a complete comprehensive look in these panels.
The amount of steel used in the construction of Mormugao is equivalent to the steel used in the construction of a railway line from Mumbai to Pune. The height of the ship is equal to a 12-story building and the total length equals 1.5 football fields. This is the ship's galley, which is essentially where the food, meals of the residents of this floating town is prepared, and Deputy Logistic Officer is responsible for it. I can see something very interesting there, Sub-Lieutenant Goldie Singh. What exactly is it?
These are the duties of the galley in charge, the senior chef. So actually in the galley, we prepare food 3 times a day, including tea and snacks twice a day. So unlike others, our galley staff does not start the work with the regular routine. We start the day around 3:30 in the morning.
So your day begins at 3:30, and what about the rest of the crew?
The
उनका
rest-
वक्त कब शुरू होता है?
The rest of the crew, the hand calls on the ship is around 5:45 or 6.
Okay. And what are these? These are storage areas?
These are the refrigeration units which we have, the modular refrigeration units for our galley.
And what makes it so different from other warships?
Actually, we have an array of modular galley equipments. Like you will see, we do not have the traditional old hot plates. We have replaced them with the electric inductions. So these electric inductions, if you will see, are these electric inductions are faster and they do not produce heat. So they are a better way of cooking on board.
I was reading some fun fact again, which is that 2,500. The fact is that in these kitchens, 2,500 chapatis can be prepared in a day, or cook 800 to 1,000 eggs per day.
So we have this setup here. If you will see, this is the dove kneading machine. Then this is the dove ball cutting machines. And after the dove balls are cut, we cook chapatis on the chapati cooking machine. So this reduces the times and effort of the cooks or the galley staff on board.
So how do you ensure that there is variety in the menu? हर दिन same ही खाना नहीं हो.
For that only we have various other modular equipments like combi steamers, the inductions, the rice boilers. So we always ensure that the menu is not repeated again, as we have this popular adage that the army marches on its stomach. So it is our endeavor to ensure that Navy is not left behind in this domain. While cooking food, we also have to ensure that the food which we are cooking is hygienic and always the galley should be the cleanest place on the ship. So that is how we have divided this galley into 3 parts, and we always ensure that the clean ship is maintained. And
So how many people work here?
In this galley, around 10 to 12 people. We have a galley staff of 13, but they are doing on watches around 3. So around 4 to 5 people are always in the galley.
Mormugao is a tribute to India as it has been commissioned on completion of 75 years of our independence. 60 years of Goa's liberation and 50 years since the first warship was constructed by MDL. The Navy also chose 18th December carefully as it was the D-Day of Operation Vijay, a historical connect to the event to India's proud maritime past.